Meeting to order. Now it's time we take public comment on non-agenda items. Does anyone have a comment? Brian Perry.
Where the 9th of September special Board of Supervisors on meeting on budget, the meeting minutes itself. I looked on the website today and the video's there, but there's no meeting minutes.
I can't answer that. Let's find out.
Okay, and at that meeting, my notes show that the 2016 budget was supposed to be presented to the board at the 12th of October Board of Supervisors meeting. I don't remember that. Is that still not visible yet?
Well, at the last meeting, Jim mentioned, and we got it, at least I did, and I'm pretty sure David did, we got copies of our proposed budget for our review. And
When is that going to roll out to the general public?
Brian, Jim rolled that a month ago. Jim gave us that schedule, and I just don't have it in front of me.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments? Jane.
Last meeting, Steve had told us that the contract with DNL Construction LLC was void and that they would be informed that no further work would be done. We read bids and accepted bids from DNL Paving and Excavating to complete Black Horse Road. And I think Brian was the one that asked who they were and if they're a different company. And who the principals were. And Jim said yes, that they were a different company. I checked with Secretary of State, and there is no such entity as DNL Paving and Excavating. So now we have a phantom company working on a road. And also noticed that it's all the same equipment that's still on the road. It's been there for a month. It's the same people working there. And I'm just wondering what's going on. The contract is void.
We can wait. Steve said he's going to be 5 minutes late and wait for him to explain the details. If that's okay?
Okay?
Okay. Other comments? Tom, is that?
Ken, there's a campaign site supporting you that basically states that the Historic Bertrandville Association, all of Weatherstone, and the Judge of Elections and poll watchers are bad and in the pockets of Chicken Man.
What's the name of that website?
Really?
I don't have anything more than I have to do with stop the nonsense, which called my wife a cheese whore today.
Which is appalling.
So let's take this out of the meeting now. This is politics, huh?
I was just wondering, I was actually
I have nothing to do with the really website. I have nothing to do with it.
It doesn't belong in this meeting.
Okay. Sue.
I believe that the last meeting, Thomas asked for people to finish up with their political grandstanding here in the meeting, so maybe we could do that tonight.
Sue, I wasn't actually.
Okay, let's just
I cut off.
let's just
of
move
what
on.
I was actually trying to do.
Let's just move on. Okay?
So I am.
Your
gonna
question
cut
was,
off.
it's on my website? No, it's not. I have nothing to do with it.
So that's what I wanted. I wanted to put out something
Right.
that we repudiate
Right.
that, and then
Right.
you agreed that that kind of thing was
Right.
not. And
Right.
by the way, I think that would be horrible that somebody would say something about you.
Well, it's been done many times, over and over again, with Chicken Man, with Chester County Ramblings, with many of Mike Schneider's supporters, and it is pretty awful.
Okay, well, now we're back into the minutes.
Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? George?
This was mentioned before, and I see, on this agenda, it says zoning ordinance changes and with some description, but can we also get that when we do the agendas for things like the planning commission as well?
Yeah.
I just want to get a little more detail. The last meeting said zoning ordinance changes, and I
Okay.
had no idea what they were about. I assume they were about something we discussed previously, but I guess it was new.
It was not new.
Okay.
Okay.
Other comments?
Could we get a little more detail then?
Yeah, we can do that. Any other comments? We need to approve the minutes of the October 12th Board of Supervisors meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Managers report, Jim isn't here. I can read it, although I didn't compile it. It will be on the website tomorrow. Want me to read it, John? David?
No. I want to say it was.
Okay, and also the treasurer's report, same thing. Sergeant Russell's here to read the police report.
During the month of September, the West Vincent Township Police Department responded to 130 calls for service, including the following. A 40-year-old male was cited for public drunkenness along the 1600 block of Sawmill Road. Also, the arrest of a 24-year-old male and a 27-year-old male for robbery, assault, and other related charges for a home invasion along Berkeley School Road in July of 2015.
Okay, the active subdivision list shows that no applications need action tonight. The bills list for October 26, 2015. The township bills list is $88,314.55. That's the general fund bills list. The reimbursable bills list is $2,702.40. The subdivision utility plant bills list is $4,722.78. For a total bills list of $95,739.72. So I hear a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I'm going to second, but I have a comment. When did this bills list come out? Because I never got a copy of it.
I didn't.
And we've had this before. Getting it on Friday doesn't leave us much time. Now, if there's any changes in here, we've been over this. I just think that, it's time that I start voting no when we don't get it.
So what's your pleasure?
Well, I second it, so I can come up with it.
Okay, any comments? Jane?
I see that we have DNL Construction on here for payment for over $17,000, which I believe puts them over the $19,200 mark, or where we need an actual bid, an actual contract.
Steve, you want to handle that? No, you're late to the meeting, that's what you get.
What's that?
You're late to the meeting, that's what you get.
Okay. So your comment is the DNL in the aggregate is $17,460.
And we have paid them previously, which takes them over the $19,200 mark.
It depends on what was bid.
The $10,275 was awarded in the bid last week.
That was a separate bid though, so.
That was DNL paving and excavating, by the way.
Pardon?
That was DNL paving and excavating, not DNL construction. You weren't here for I was told to wait until you got here.
Okay. What I do understand, at least from what Ken just clarified, is the 10,275 was a separate bid, so you're not going to aggregate that with the other work that was done under the contract that was voided.
Well, the contract never existed because it was voided from day one, because we never got the bond on time.
It was void by operation of law, and then the board decided to pay for the work that was done under that contract, and then terminated it. So that was one contract. This was bid separately, and so you don't aggregate those two for purposes of the bidding requirements.
Can you explain to me how a contract that is void is considered a contract?
A contract was entered into, it was void for failure to post the bond within a timely manner. So there was a contract, it was in void. Bless you. And they didn't pay necessarily under that contract, but they paid on a quantum merit basis for the work that was done based on that contract when it was entered into.
So it's not under the contract, but it's based on the contract.
The scope of the work was, part of that contract was based, the scope of the work on which the contract was based, the work was performed, so they paid for the work that was done.
But the fact is, we're still over the limit of the contract.
No, because then they separately bid out the subsequent work and awarded it separately.
Okay, can I go back to my previous question?
Sure.
As to how, when you weren't here, Steve, the bid that came in last time was under DNL paving and excavating. Why is the bill coming in from DNL Construction LLC when we were told they were a different company?
I couldn't possibly answer that question, because I haven't seen the actual bill, nor did I see the actual contract, but they should match up. Whoever was awarded the work should be the party getting paid.
But they're not. And actually, the party that was awarded the contract the last time doesn't exist. There is no such party, there is no such entity as DNL Paving and Excavating. I looked on the Secretary of State, they don't exist.
Were you looking under
And
corporation?
yet, when I emailed and asked for an insurance contract,
Were you looking under corporations or limited liability companies or
everything,
everything?
yes.
What about sole proprietorships? They
Everything.
don't have to register.
They don't have to register it, but they should have a fictitious name at least.
Well, this is LLC, so I assume it's a limited liability company, it should be
Well, DNL
registered.
Construction is an
Right.
LLC, but DNL Paving and Excavating wasn't given as an LLC.
Yeah, I don't know, who the bidding party
And then when I
was.
emailed and asked for a certificate of insurance for DNL Paving and Excavating, I was told that they were the same company. So it
Well,
was
they
known
may
all
be,
along.
wait, they may be. DNL, I mean, it's possible, I don't know, but DNL, this is an LLC, so this should be a registered entity. But DNL Paving and Excavating has no Inc. on it, no LLC on it, and it could be a fictitious name for DNL.
But if you award a contract to a DNL Paving and Excavating, and that goes on record that that is who the award is given to, and you have insurance, that I was told the insurance certificate was under DNL Construction LLC, do you really think that if something happens, an insurance company is going to pay a claim when the company that is given the award of the contract is DNL Paving and Excavating, when the insurance is under DNL Construction LLC?
It's possible, because it could be a fictitious name in the DBA that they do business under, and they all should be covered. But, I don't know the answer.
Then it should be on the certificate,
It should be.
but it's not. So how is this protecting the resident? That's what I want to know. Ken, I saw on some of your flyers, I'm sorry, but, is this how you protect the residents?
I stay as far away from examining contracts as I possibly can, so
Roadmaster.
that I make sure that they meet the requirements of the contract. I do not look at the legal side of it, that's management's job. That way you
You're
can't
out
accuse
working
me of
with
playing
these guys
games.
all the time.
What's that?
You're out working with these guys all the time, you should know who it is that you're working with.
What's that, Maria?
Management reports to you.
Management reports to me?
The manager reports to the roadmaster?
No, to the supervisor.
There's
Well, then-
three of them up there, Maria.
Correct, he's the chairman.
What about
And
John?
roadmaster.
What about David?
Not chairman.
Okay, let's go
Well,
forward with this.
Yeah, before we jump to conclusions that we're not protecting the township, I think we ought to look at the documents and determine what's actually there. I mean, you raise good points, but there may be valid explanations for them as well, so let's not jump to the conclusion that, there's something really wrong here until we actually look at it.
I'm seeing things that are very wrong.
You're seeing inconsistencies in names.
I'm seeing a lot of other things too.
You're seeing, what I heard is inconsistent names on the bills list.
Bills and bids,
And who was
bonds,
bid. I
everything.
understand, I
And it's all connected to the road stuff.
Well, how about if we approve the bills list and withhold payment from D&L Construction until our solicitor and 2 supervisors out of 3 would vote for authorized payment? How's that sound?
That's fine, but I can't tell you, I'm beating a dead horse here, but getting this bills list tonight when I walk in here and expect to approve $88,000 without having a chance to look at it, we've been over that, so I'll second the motion if we want to remove that, but my vote's still going to be the same.
Okay, David?
So what'd you say, John?
I think Ken, don't mean to put words in your mouth, Ken wants to pull the
the DNR construction invoices from the bills list
Right.
and approve the rest of it. Is that-
Well, actually, what I said was approve it until solicitor investigates to make sure they meet all the standards, all the requirements of the bid.
Right.
In other words, if it is DNL paving and excavating, then they don't get paid.
So that's in the form of a motion, Ken?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to word it, but that's what I mean.
I'll second that.
What I heard was approve the
I think
bills
you better
list,
get the
including
wording
D and L, subject to evaluation by us to determine that D and L Construction LLC is the appropriate party to be paid, and all that matches up with the bidding party in some fashion.
Is that okay, John, Dave?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, motion's made and seconded. Are there any comments? Brian?
I'm gonna touch on this same thing here. And Steve said that, well, D&L Construction got paid under one agreement to begin with. And now we're paying them, we're proposing to pay them under another agreement coming up, it doesn't. But we still have a project that is over $20,000 in value. And that's a little bit higher than what the actual limit is. But it's over $20,000 where you're supposed to bid on it. Unless you're saying, well, we're gonna split this up so that it's less than $20,000, so we don't have to bid on it. Or it certainly appears that way. And I don't think that's right either.
Well, Brian, let me just correct one thing, because frankly, I don't know who the original party under contract was, whether it was D&L Paving or D&L Construction or D&L Brothers, I don't know. But assuming that they were the same party, we were not proposing to split the project up for purposes of avoiding any bidding requirements. What happened was, work was performed under the original contract, which was then determined to be void, and D&L, whatever party was under that contract, was paid for that work that was done, not based on the contract, but on a quantum merit basis, because the work had been performed. That contract was voided, and then the balance of the work that hadn't been done was put out to bid with verbal bids were obtained for that work. So that's how it happened. Nobody ever proposed to split the work up for bidding purposes. The contract was determined to be void, the balance of the work was bid out.
I'm hearing it, I'm still not necessarily agreeing with it. But I'll go and extend one more part here is, the prior bills that we paid at the last meeting were paid to D&L Construction, LLC, per the bills list. And at that same meeting, the continuing work was supposed to be done by another different entity. And I personally thought it was D&L Excavating and Paving, but I looked at both of them. I looked at all D&L, and I believe, for David's information, that if you look in the Department of State listing, it lists for anything, whether it's a DBA, whether it's an LLC, whether it's an incorporation, whether it's a company, a proprietorship, it's listed. There is no D&L Excavating and Paving. There is no D&L Paving and Excavation.
Brian, a fictitious name is not necessarily registered. It would not necessarily show up if you did that. There are complications legally, but it does, fictitious names happen all the time without being registered.
Okay, well, we still have.
I don't know what happened here. I'm
We
just
look
saying,
at,
correct me.
at tonight's bills list, and do we see a bill from D&L Excavating and Paving, or Paving and Excavation? No, we see one from D&L Construction LLC, who from the last meeting wasn't going to be doing the work.
Okay, is that all, Brian?
No,
Well, hurry up, because the guy here has a question, he's waiting patiently.
I'll go and ask another question. Looking at this bill, it says Black Horse Road, grading, swale, and pipe. One day, 7th of October, $10,275. They did that much work on one day?
I'll have to review the bills list from then, I don't know if that's right or not.
So you're the roadmaster, but you don't know the work they do on any, recent day?
Yeah, that's right, I'd have to look at the bills list, because unlike you, I make sure that I try to say the right thing every time. I'm not
Are
trying to
you
make...
saying that I don't say the right thing?
I'm not trying to make video, Brian, you're great at it, I admire you for that, but that's not why I'm here to be township supervisor.
I'm not trying to make any video, I'm trying to go and find out what's going on.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, if you want, I'll check into it, I can do that.
Okay.
If you have an email address, I'll email it back to you.
I've emailed you, send it back to the email address.
And that is
you've
what?
got.
What email is that? You want to give it to me after the meeting so it's not spoken in public?
Look at your email.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Question.
hold it, Brian's not done. Brian's not done.
Is
Can
this
I get
prevailing?
clarification on the list, on the bills list? Maybe Tammy can help. I don't know if you can, but are these dates of the work being performed, or are these dates by them dates of the bills? Like the 10/7/2015 in parentheses after that grading, swale, and pipe. You don't know the answer. I don't know whether that's the date the work was performed or the date of the bill. I'm just asking. They have a due date.
But if you look at the one above it, there's 3 dates, so it can't be the date of the bill.
Well, it could be because then I went to the community garden one where they have water. And that's got like, it says community garden water, 5/7/6/9, 7/21, 8/12, 9/8, 10/12. I don't think those are the days of the watering. I think those may be deliveries for,
Those are deliveries because
For
we were
water.
discussing that.
so all I want to do is just say, I don't want to presume that the date is the date the work was performed as opposed to the date of the bill. We should get an answer to the question.
Steve, you could absolutely be correct, but, that's the way it looks. That's the way I'm interpreting it. I could be wrong. Is this prevailing wage work or not?
I don't know. I'll have to look at the contract.
Okay. How are we doing on budget for this project? How much have we spent so far?
I have added up the last bills that we've gotten in yet, so I can't give you a figure.
What do you mean that we haven't gotten the last bill in? I'm looking at it right now. How are we doing on budget?
Do you want to know exactly how much we spent up until today? I don't know that number.
I'm not going an exact number. Do you have, what's the last number that you looked at?
I think we're at about 50,000 so far.
Okay. Does it look like we're going to meet our $75,000 number?
Yeah, it's going to be close. Might be a little over, but I think I think I said that last time.
Okay. One thing is, the bills list reflects what we pay vendors. We're also tracking our internal costs, our salary costs for the road crew, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to move on at this point. We've got a bill from Gregory Carter for T maintenance, and we've got one from Petty Cash for front door repair. These two are probably related, is that correct?
I don't know.
Township manager's not here.
No idea.
Okay, H.A. Wygand, roads, let's see, road signs, posts and cones. What do we get the posts for?
Various signs in the township get broken and damaged, so we buy them. Well,
Okay.
not often, but we buy a lot of sign posts in a year's time.
Do we get the cones for the ones that are over there on Black Horse Road, or we just needed them?
We need extra, people steal them all the time. It's a problem.
Okay.
Or they disappear. I don't accuse anybody of stealing anything, but they disappear.
Something else, as I was writing this up, I realized over on the western side of Black Horse Road, when they put the storm inlets in there, they put some white wands up at the storm inlets on the western side. when they put the storm inlets up on the eastern side of Black Horse, there's no white wands. What is the purpose of them, or why do we have them on one side but not the other?
We haven't installed any storm inlets on the west side of Route 100 Black Horse Road.
This is on the dirt side of Black Horse Road, not the paved side.
You just said the west side of Route 100.
If I said that, I apologize, I misspoke myself.
Okay.
The west side of the dirt side of Route 100, where there's 3 inlets which were put in there. They have white wands sticking up at them. If I go to the eastern side, where we put in quite a number of inlets, there's no white wands.
Okay, I'll have to look and see why they're not there.
Are they supposed to be there?
Depends on the width of the carway, so I'll have to look and see.
What's the purpose of them?
So, people see them, and road maintenance equipment see them?
Okay. With Jim not here, I suspect I'm going to get a lot of the same answer. Integrations Incorporated, camera maintenance. Was this for the meeting room cameras or the security cameras?
I don't know. Jim, David, John, or David, you know?
No idea.
John?
No idea.
This one, possible, yes. We've got a bill from Taser International. Bill Police yearly license contract. Does this mean that I'm going to say we pay for tasers, which I'm going to call weapons, and supplies for them, and then we pay a lease on top of that?
You have to talk to the chief about police matters. I don't know. John or David know. They're welcome to know.
No idea.
Would Sergeant Russell potentially know?
Sergeant's not the chief. I said you should talk to the chief.
Okay. And we've got a large number of bills from Walt's Turf Farm. Is that all of the turf bills, or are we expecting that's more that come in?
I think there's 2 more pallets of turf that were purchased for Black Horse Road repair
Okay.
that aren't on this bills list.
Okay. That's it for me. Thank you.
Okay. Can I have your name, please? I don't recognize.
Steve Riker.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Back to the bill for the confusion between D&L excavation and
Right.
blah, blah, blah. Is there going to be a cost involved in figuring out who should be paid and all that? As far as like looking into the contracts and all that?
Well, yeah, if we ask the lawyer to review it, there'll be a legal bill, yes.
So
Yep.
since they caused the confusion, shouldn't they be back billed for that?
If they did indeed do the confusion, that'd be something to consider, yeah. Cause of confusion, that'd be something to consider. Anything else, Steve?
Nope.
Okay, Maria, I think, is next.
I just want, on the whole D&L issue, Steve, did you say that it was just a matter of like differences of names? Did I really hear an attorney kind of say that that didn't matter a whole lot?
It may not.
I don't understand that comment. As for, especially from a legal standpoint, how does it not matter what the names of a company is if they're not, if an insurance certificate is one, a bond is a different, and a contract is another name?
If they're using a fictitious name, doing business as, and they've registered it, then they're treated as one and the same.
Even if they haven't registered it, right? I mean, they're still.
Even if they haven't registered, but they lose some protection if they haven't registered.
Wouldn't the doing business as need to be on the insurance certificate? Wouldn't there have to be something to say who you really are doing it? And the next question I have is $10,000 for probably one day's work that I believe on the 12th of October, we paid a whole slew of bills for D&L from that time period. Now this one rolls into that. It doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. There's something that is, maybe it's innocent, but there is just something that doesn't feel right. Why is this bill that didn't come in with the rest of them that were paid on October 12th, that didn't have a contract, that was voided? Now we have a new contract and it's a different company, but it's all the same people, and only 2 people work there, but they make $10,000 in a day. I want that job.
Can we stop assuming that there's something nefarious going on?
Oh, I'm sorry,
I can't help
Carl.
but do that.
I'm sorry.
This is-
Maria has the floor, Carl.
I'm sorry, I don't, this doesn't feel right.
Okay, is that your comment, or you have more?
That's my comment.
Okay, Jane, I think, was next, I believe. Did you ever
Actually,
hear-
Sarah was
Oh,
next.
Sarah, okay.
I have two things. I'm trying to understand about the October 7th. On October 12th, you guys voted to void the contract. So the contract, although you knew there was something with it, unusual with it, you didn't officially act on it until the 12th, and there had been work in progress. So I think the fact that there was a 7th of October bill submitted in this billing period instead of the last could have just been a matter of their billing cycle and not actual issues of it should have been paid before the 12th if they hadn't submitted the bill in time, it wouldn't happen. So there's stuff like that that it's like way beyond us. But I'm hearing that Maria and Jane and Brian had plenty of time to examine the bills list before tonight's meeting.
No,
Was
I
it
didn't look at
withheld
it at all.
from the Board of Supervisors? Did all three of you guys just get it today, but it was up on the website available to the general public for review?
I got it at 7:30.
You know what, excuse me, I take it.
Okay, hold it, Maria. Sarah has the floor.
I want the guys to answer this question. You guys, the board,
I first saw it here, sitting here,
but it had been available to the public prior to that.
maybe, I didn't check the website.
I went over the bills list this afternoon about 3:30 or so. So,
Because you made a point to come in and
yeah, because of the road stuff, yeah, I go over it. And I came in, might have been 4 o'clock, it was pretty late, you know that. So. Okay, Jane is next.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it's not difficult to sit down with the bills list and see D&L construction right here on the first page. And with everything that's been going on with the contract, I think there's every issue there to question it. I don't understand, Sarah, why you're perplexed over that I question that.
Oh, I'm
because
not perplexed that you questioned it. I
I'm
was just,
perplexed that I would see it before, that it would be so difficult to sit.
Could you please
right here and
just
see it.
address the front of the room, please?
Sorry.
Okay, anything else, Jane?
Well, I wanted to mention again that, you know, like I said earlier, that I think Brian was the one that asked if D&L Paving and Excavation was a different company than D&L Construction LLC, and we were told that yes, they were a different company. So that just, I just wanted to clarify that again.
Okay, Kit, hand up.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to step back for a moment. I'm going to side with John on this. I have brought up many times that I thought the board should get their packets on Friday instead of Monday so that you have time to prepare. So I'm going to bring that up again and ask that the board consider asking the staff to do that. Going on from that, there was a question earlier of who the staff, the manager reports to. Who is that? Who is the manager reporting to? And if there's pretend there's a problem with the manager, who fixes that?
Board of Supervisors.
So the board oversees the manager and the staff?
No, the manager.
Manager oversees the staff, we oversee the manager.
Even the secretary and the treasurer? Don't the secretary and the treasurer of a township, second-class township, serve at the pleasure of the board?
Serving at the pleasure of the board and reporting to the person in charge is not the same thing. In other words, those supervisors hire and fire. And the term "at the pleasure of the board" means that they can be fired at any time, that there is no contract.
Right, there's no contract,
Right.
okay.
But the staff in West
But
Vincent
you
Township...
can't fire them?
The staff, yeah, we can.
Good.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, but the staff in their day-to-day operations answers to the township manager.
Thank you.
Okay? Okay, Artie is next.
I think some of the confusion here, Ken, may arise from if this month's bill is for 10/7, but last month, they also billed for 9/28, 29, and 30, 10/05, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So, last month it wasn't billed, it was billed this month for the same day that they had down here, I don't know.
Okay, like I said, we'll check into
There
it.
might be some confusion.
It
Okay.
could be a typo, it could be 17.
Yeah, well, like I said, they're not gonna get paid until we're satisfied that things are right. So, I think Brian was first, Maria. Brian?
Jane raised the point, you know, one is IS are the different company. We were told last meeting they're a different company. Jane says, because I haven't gone over there and looked and watched and seen people working or anything like that, says, same people, same equipment, yet we're told that they were gonna be a different company, and now we're seeing a bill from D&L Construction LLC. It just, as Maria said, something seems awfully wrong here. And I'm gonna ask one other thing is, I think we heard the last time that the contract was voided, and the only time when we heard that that contract was voided was...
Was what? I'm sorry, said the only time you heard the contract was what?
We heard that the contract had been voided
Okay.
at the last meeting. Apparently it had been voided sometime earlier than that. In this case, if these bills are approved, it would be appreciated if these were, say, there was a note placed on the township website for this meeting of saying, hey, they were approved, and, you know, maybe a short explanation of why, and it may go and calm everybody down, you won't have so many questions. Suggestion. That's it, thank you.
Okay, okay. Maria, I think is next.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I walked in late. Did you look at the bills list on Friday? Or was this the first time you saw the bills list?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to address me better than that, young lady. I did not see this bills list until I came in
But
tonight.
did you see another bills list?
Yes.
Then, and Jim is on vacation, so I'm just wondering who made this, under whose authority did this bills list get put together?
Township treasurer, I would imagine.
That's who handles it?
Yes.
When the manager goes on vacation, you just can't stop.
No, I understand that, I'm just wondering, who made that go on the, how do more bills get added? Because I would assume you left the bills list that he looked at and kind of said okay to. And-
Yeah, it was the township treasurer.
Okay.
Any other comments? Sorry, hand in the back, I don't see who it is. Oh, Francis.
The EM Cuts Incorporated says is it almost $44,000 to install a body, void spreader, and I guess it would be snowplow. Is that in addition to the cost of the new 2016 International truck?
Yes, yes,
That's additional.
yes.
Ooh, lovely. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Jane,
And how much did we pay for that truck?
69,000.
So it's almost doubled in price. What kind of spreader and snowplow
The
is on
dump
there?
body is spreader.
It's the body of the truck too. The
I
six-
know, I do financing for equipment like this, so I kind of usually
Okay.
know what.
Okay, well, not to be a know-it-all or anything, but have you priced a new pickup truck lately? You can spend $65,000 on a pickup truck with no snowplow, no dump bed, no body, just a pickup truck. I mean,
I know
you live in the
that.
same world I do.
I
And
see it all the time.
$130,000 is a lot for a dump truck. I'm not saying that it's not, but that's what they cost. I mean, we bought it off the CoStars, which is a program that the General Services Administration of PennDOT approves the bids. So that's how we bought it, off a state-approved bidders list.
I can't buy a $130,000 dump truck, I tell you that right now.
What's that?
I can't get one at 130, so, like, the general public can't get
Can you get one for 120?
No, I can get one for 180.
Yeah, the stuff's expensive.
Well, we don't
I mean,
have new
it's- I don't like paying that kind of money either, but
But
stuff's
that's why
expensive.
snow plowing costs so much, because the equipment is very, very expensive.
So, okay, Jane, any other questions? Or? Okay, Francis,
Have we ever considered renting this equipment instead of buying it?
you can't rent trucks for snow removal because of the salt damage to them. Leasing
Okay.
companies won't lease them.
All right, I understand. Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, had your hand up?
I know this does not relate to the bills, but it just came to me. Are there any other open issues, like dirt having been removed from Black Horse Road properties and brought over here? Has it been returned? There was a replacement tree being offered. Is all of that stuff settled? Are we just down to doing the road work now?
The dirt was returned today, Jane, I'm sure you saw that.
Yes, thank you.
And we had offered a replacement tree to Jane. We haven't heard back yet, as far as I know. So,
I'm still considering that. A 3-inch caliber tree is,
okay. All you gotta do is say yes or no, and it doesn't have to be today.
So it's not all settled yet? We're
Right.
not down just to road work?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there's no more questions or comments on the bills list, the motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
We have a request to use the meeting room from Davy Waters for the Chester County 4-H Club on the second Tuesday of the month of November 2015 to April 2016. Do you hear a motion?
Make a motion.
That's all right. No comment. I'll move the approval. John, were you about to do it?
You did, yeah.
Right, second.
Any comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Request for the yearly donation from Green Valleys Watershed Association.
Tammy, what did you say the last year's contribution was?
$1,000.
1,000? And how long have we been doing it as a township? Do you know?
Yeah, we're doing it now.
Long time?
I think since before I was
Ten,
on
probably.
the board. So are they asking for $1,000? I didn't see the letter.
I think they're asking for $1,500. Down the bottom.
Well, John and David, what do you think? Keep it at 1,000, don't do anything, make it 1,500.
I would make it 1500, that's the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I have a request to use the township meeting room from the Airedale Carrier Club on November 22nd at 1:30 p.m. Your motion to approve?
So moved.
Any comment? All those in favor? Excuse me. Under subdivision land development, we have the Eagle Farm subdivision, location of an access gate. David, you weren't at a meeting. When was that, John? We made a motion to approve the location of that gate. Do you remember?
I've been told it was July 21st, I think.
Okay. Well, you weren't here.
27. 27, okay.
27.
I was close.
And John and I considered and approved the motion to put the gate that closes off South Chester Springs Road to through traffic as close to the Ewing's driveway as possible, since the Ewing's had requested that they have access to Eagle Farms Road. That's the motion that was made and seconded and voted on and was approved. Is that right, John? I'm saying that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me?
Yes.
There was no motion made. That you just directed Jim to go forward to speak to the engineer and come up with a plan.
I thought we made a motion, didn't we, John?
If we didn't, we sincerely erred. But
It's-
I
it's
can't
on the
remember last
video.
week, let alone the 27th of July. But I just assumed it was a motion.
But Ken said, so do we need to make a motion for that, or just direct you to go forward? Jim said, I'm not sure there needs to be a motion, if there's a sense of where we can direct the township engineer to work with the developer to do that.
And you pulled that off of the, listen to the video?
I think so.
And what date was that?
July 27th. And then Steve said, you're going to direct Ken Yerger to come up with a design that's going to include signage issues, I think, Jim, right? Jim, yes. Steve. And so anything that relates to the gate, why don't we let the engineer come up with the proposed design? Then we'll circulate that, and if we have further comments, we can incorporate those, or at least understand what they are.
Right, and what I was anticipating is not making a motion on something that was
Exactly.
not fixed and tangible, and we didn't have a plan on it. So I think we were saying no motion at that point, but there would be a motion at some point.
With this tonight.
Maybe.
Maybe. Call that one, John.
Well, we screwed that one for sure.
No, she's absolutely right, because we didn't have enough to make a motion.
Right.
We just needed more information at that point.
So what do we do now?
I guess we open it up and we have that discussion that's in front of us.
Well, we would like to make that motion and second it and ask for comment again.
Sure. It's a good raise.
I'll second it.
Let me make the
Yeah,
motion that
maybe
we,
that.
that we put the turnaround in the gate closest to the UN driveway as it is shown, and I'm gonna assume that's a yellow circle on my drawing.
Okay, I haven't seen that till tonight.
It's in your book.
Okay.
That would be it.
No.
What else do we
That
need?
plan, I think the plan before you is an ESC consultant's plan. And it's showing the gate just past, I guess, north of your driveway, Annie?
I'm not sure which plan you're
Toll
looking
Brothers
at.
drew that up for Mrs. Stewart.
But I think this plan was something that you asked them to draw up subsequently.
I've been asking for a plan since April, and this was the first plan.
See, the
Yeah.
pink is where she has asked for it, and yellow is where I thought you had already decided.
Yeah.
So you put the yellow there?
I did.
Okay, and that's what was my understanding. This is
This is
the
it.
latest proposal from this week.
Correct.
Can that be stated 7/24, which predates the meeting on the 27th, where we said we had no concept?
I didn't hear that.
The date on the plan here that I have says 7/24/15, which predates the meeting on the 27th, which we're now discussing whether we had a motion or not, and instruction was given to create a concept. So if that is the case, that we left that meeting, having given Ken Yerger the task to come up with a concept, there would obviously be a plan, or at least an updated plan, with a date post 7/27.
And there is none.
I received.
And typically what happens with these is there's a drawing date, which is probably the original date, and then there's a last revision date, which I don't see on here.
Correct.
And so I don't know whether they just missed that, but this is showing a second location for the gate. So it's got two gate locations. There's the original location and then a proposed relocated gate location. There was the original turnaround and there's a proposed relocated turnaround. So it's showing alternate concepts at this point.
And do you have a plan for the original proposal?
I think this was it, and then they just added to it.
So that shows a turnaround by our driveway.
Yes, it has a turnaround written there. It doesn't actually, draw the turnaround.
And do you know when that was produced? Because we've been asking Jim for a plan, the plan that came out of that meeting, since.
I received this in a separate email from Jim on Friday with the attached plan.
Which plan?
That's the second plan.
Okay.
It appears, and then it appears that they put in the original locations on this plan. Because what I received from Jim did not have the two locations on it, it just had the proposed relocation.
Right. This is where I believe the confusion comes from. The township, John and Ken made a recommendation that was a concept. There had been talk about whether the gate was going to be at Eagle Farms Road, whether it was going to be at St. Matthews Road early in the discussion, whether it was going to be on our side of the culvert, whether it was going to be on across from side of the culvert. And so my understanding of that July 27th meeting was that Supervisors said it's going to be near Eagle Farms Road, it's going to be between our driveway and the culvert, and the turnaround is going to be between the gate and the culvert concept. And so when we walked the terrain and looked at that, we realized we would need space between our driveway and the gate so that large trucks pulling into our driveway would have a place to get back out onto Eagle Farms Road. And that looking at allowing that distance to the gate actually takes you to a place on the culvert where there's right-of-way on both sides of the road to give an even wider area for the turnaround. If it was right next to our driveway, there would only be a slightly inclined area right-of-way on one side of the road, and the other side is a guardrail. So we were proposing something that appeared to be preferable to the plan that we've never seen, but that was spoken about at that meeting. It seemed to comply with the supervisor's wish that it be at our end of the road, that it be between our driveway and the culvert, and that it allow room for vehicles to turn around.
Ken Yerger has not seen this plan,
No, he hasn't come back to work yet from his back surgery.
but we haven't even run this by Carol.
I don't know that. As far as I know, we haven't, but I don't do that.
Well, I think we were getting it on Friday. Did you have a site meeting on Friday?
We had a site meeting on Thursday, but
On Thursday?
Mike Downs actually sent that plan to Jim on the 16th. And we talked about it with Ken Miller and John Jacobs on the 18th and 19th. And then Mike Downs sent it to Jim again on the 22nd after we met on the culvert.
Mention myself if it matters.
And on the 20th, excuse me, Ken Miller responded to Mike Downs saying he had forwarded the plan to the township engineer for review.
I said that?
According
A
to
copy of
Mike-
that email? I'd like to see that.
It wasn't an email to me, it was reported to me by Mike Downs in your
I never sent
correspondence.
a copy of anything to anybody.
What they refer to?
Which, there were
And
lots of
Ken,
pages.
because I do have one from Mike to Ken on the 19th, talking about the suitability of the culvert for a turnaround.
Right.
That's from Mike to you, though.
Right.
Right,
And then he has some
And I sent back
engineering.
to him an acknowledgement that I received that email.
Right.
Right.
And he reported to me that you had received it and had forwarded it to the town, or had forwarded or would forward it to the township engineer.
Yeah, that was the statement that his engineer said that the culvert was capable of carrying the weight for turnaround.
Right,
Not that there was a
not the plan, okay.
Right, there's a big difference there, and so, Ross.
I think this is representative of a lot of confusion regarding this plan. From talking to some of the construction workers last week, was concerned about what I thought was the agreement of the 27th of July being changed. So Friday morning, I called Jim. What's going on? He told me he was going to be sending me, all of us, a email that day showing this new plan. Because he had been told, he said to me, that all of the neighbors were in agreement with this move. I interrupted him mid-sentence, said, that's not true. This is the first I'm hearing of this. I left here on the 27th of July, thinking we had an understanding that the most room, because Ken Yerger had come back and said the most room in the least expensive place to put the turnaround was the gate right close to, as close to as possible to the Ewing's driveway, with the turnaround up against the gate. He said it's the most room and the cheapest. So that's where I thought this whole thing was going. First time I saw this was a Friday, and I think it's the worst plan that we've seen so far. If we don't have enough room for the turnaround's not going to get used. And people are going to continue to use driveways and lawns for turning around. So Ken Yerger, I think you paid for it, didn't you? For him to do a study on that?
I'm not sure, Ron. I don't know.
And it's, I know I sat in a meeting with him. I think you were there too.
Okay, well, Toll Brothers would have paid for any review of anything having to do with.
Well,
this
anyway.
subdivision, so.
So is the final say from Ken Yerger on this versus Toll making decisions on where the turnaround goes?
No, the final say is here at this table,
But you guys will go by what Ken Yerger recommends, correct?
not necessarily.
Okay.
Two issues there. If it's an engineering structural issue, they'll go by what Ken Yerger says, I think. If it's a location issue,
Yeah, that's right.
that they're both suitable, then it's their call, for sure.
My reaction is that the turnaround on the culvert isn't going to work, period. There's not enough room, and I think I know exactly what's going to happen if that's the design. And I totally disagree with Annie's representation. She has to have a turnaround. No other neighbors have turnarounds. Trucks come in and out of all our driveways. They either back in or drive in, and then they either back out or drive out. And that's the UPS, FedEx, my case, the propane trucks. So I don't understand the argument if she needs a separate turnaround for access to her driveway.
Okay, well, Ron, Annie's entitled to her opinion. You know, we can't tell her what to think. And it's our job to decide where it's going to go. So if we make a motion tonight that we thought we made the last time, see, put it up.
I think you got, well, do you want to entertain the alternate location? Because that has.
Which is the alternate location? No.
It's right on top of the culvert,
Right.
with the gate being at this end of the culvert.
Right.
That's the plan that I saw on Friday. This is where my understanding was, without an exact location, because I never saw the plan, but it was down close to the driveway.
That's the yellow one, right?
Yes.
It's close to New Eagle Farms Road.
First, if I could say this, I'm embarrassed that we handled it this way, and that we owe you an apology for that alone. I feel embarrassed is the only way I can say it, so won't let that happen again.
So what do we want to do to remedy it?
The only question that I see is, do we wait for a real engineer drawing showing where this yellow goes, and how long would that take, and is that gonna put this whole thing, give it another dimension? Or did we just go with what we believed, which was very, very close to the driveway and down, on that section, past the culverts?
Well, I think we owe the residents a decision.
I agree.
And it's, the location of the gate isn't really an engineering decision, unless the engineer says it's not possible to do it that way for, restrictions he has to deal with.
No, I agree, the gate's not the issue, it's the turnaround and the...
Well, the gate location determines the turnaround location.
The grade drops down here and down here, so you're not gonna have, a hill in the middle of the turnaround, so it's gonna have to be regraded to attempt the turnaround. That was what I meant by the gate is gonna be in center of the road, and that, of course, that area is pretty flat and at the high point.
Mm-hmm. So Dave or John, what do you think they'll do?
Well, I have a question. I'm not sure because I wasn't here at the meeting. The turnaround, not on the culvert, is that something that you all agree on?
No.
The neighbors, no?
Exactly where you're talking about putting it.
The neighbors who do not live on the property.
Can I come up and see that?
I just want to determine if we have a disagreement here that we have to resolve. If we don't, then, this is proposed, and this was what.
No, what John and I proposed the yellow.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I thought we were talking about. Now, why I raised my hand, an important part of that discussion was, we were saying if you don't have that gate, so it's visible from Eagle Farms Road, then you're going to have a case of two turnarounds. So people coming in from Eagle Farm Road thinking they can access Chester Springs, you're going to turn around the south side, and you're going to have Chester Springs turn around on the north side. So by putting the gate basically across there, the yellow, that was my understanding of the 27th, that served both purposes, cutting off this traffic.
This is a guide rail right here. There's no space there to use, you're only using this.
Where's the back?
Guide rail is right there. This isn't a circle.
It's installed already.
This is the guy wrong.
So you say, this gate here, the turnaround there is advertising the fact that there's no.
Yeah, from Eagle Farms Road, you'll see the gate.
Right now, the gate is here. And there's a culvert there that has been showing that the bridge is out. People have no problem seeing this. This is our front yard right here. Go forward or back in the This is the notice. They haven't decided about the
But I agree with you, it's picking up where including it.
But
Yeah, but how are we doing the fraction of the day? I thought we did that, but
and for you to
so we make a motion.
in the right of way and grade it up to level.
So what we thought we were doing is what I would like to do.
Significant here.
This is how.
I totally disagree with that.
You got the,
Yeah, which is
I didn't see that one.
So you've got
This is closest to
the amount of dirt you have from the grade down to the culvert itself, about 18 inches. That's not enough to bury it. So if you're going to have a guardrail, you're going to have to turn around. You really think it's going to stop certainly it's but it's just this area. Because if you don't put it here, because this whole area from this side coming all
I'll fill the next. Bring them up to speed on the
I looked at it, it was about 6 to 8 feet area. That's another point, obviously, the further you have a solution to
Fresh out.
Everybody has trouble.
Where's trouble? There's trouble.
Do K-turns come in their driveways?
I'm not saying they need a turnaround, I'm just saying they need to back up.
Understand that you want the no separation between the gate and the engineering driveway and your truck and that's not a separate turnaround, that's just going to be an hour and a half, you can get it. No, is that a step, or is that a box?
That's why I asked.
That's just like the, then it's just supposed to be on the north side of the property, allowing for minimum distance from the driveway to allow trucks to back out of the truck like that. It could, it could, but it's kind of You're backing out of the intersection. You're not going to see the in fact, now that one raises, the last thing you're going to do is force the truck to make it drop something and then back out of the intersection.
They do this every day. They stop, they back up the driveway, and they pull up.
And then you.
Talking about backing out.
Okay, they want to call it.
They pull up here, they back around into the driveway, out the driveway.
They are, my experience is they break something where they go, they're gonna go right into the driveway, and then they're gonna have to figure out how to get out.
Happens every day. That's how they,
You really don't want to encourage.
That's not what I said. Pull up here and back up her driveway. So, whichever way they're coming, they go back, they back in. Look what they have to do, pick up the trash, now they pull up. Now backing in, that's what they didn't want
Well, that's why kids, that's why they have to.
That's exactly
But Andy said, is there a compromise between here and both physically
Spike strips across the line.
So, why, you wanted to get it from your way. So,
Ken, you understand that?
right, I understand. And, you know, I don't know what the scale of this is. One is you, so, this doesn't have to be 30 feet, if you have a driveway. If you had 15 feet there plus your driveway, you've got.
I see that in this
Yeah, I think the concept was always, from day one, keep it as close to the farm as possible, so it actually does. Turnaround, you know, I mean, I think it has to be there, guardrail, on this side. It's got to be on this side. You say it's up, I don't know that it does there.
It is what it is, that's just my opinion. Again,
That was the original discussion. You didn't want your drive cut off. The original discussion was put in here. What happened to that? Slow this You had the best of both worlds. They have to do that. Continue on this side. 1 inch equals 30 feet. So, you know, that may be moving too far up. Man, listen to her, I'm listening to what you're just trying to see if it's compromised.
Watch her do it. They drive past the driveway, they back around, they back up the driveway. They drive
Delivery trucks, back in, or out of the intersection. Municipal road, it's just not. In fact, I think part of Ken Yerger's review of it is looking at the traffic. Because we're the ones that have the line, we're the ones that have the intersection. Saying, what I do want to do is make sure that we don't encourage something that's unsafe.
It's like a series.
As close to something like that. So it gives them more warning and then let them decide whether it's here,
So the motion for it's close to you and driveway.
But you get to the next one, the driveway, they back out, and they're at least halfway on the driveway. So you don't need 50 additional feet. No, this motion is going to be, their desire to locate the gate, and they're going to, be taking into consideration the public safety concerns related to the intersection and the physical constraints relating to grading and everything else. And they're going to go home. And whether it's right on your driveway, not going to be here, because I don't think that that's the desire of the board is to put it on hold. Whether it's here or here, it's going to be based on
Steve just said it made a lot of sense. You've got a 40-foot vehicle. You're coming down and try that. So you'd be talking 15 or 20 feet down there.
liability of this intersection is really controlled. Interact with the traffic.
There is a stop sign there.
That's you. When someone's back in the
That would make it worse, because then you have to back to where
Yes, you don't want to frustrate back just made a turn around, she needs to wait for the driveway so that they can address the, I do, so that they can address the intersection, approach the intersection properly head on. I get that, and that's fine, but I don't think you need 40 feet. I think you need the minimum, the minimum width that will allow them to back up, but they are using parking. So, I'm trying to be practical and say, hey, look at it. At the end of the day, can you make that
But I think we want it for a few hours.
I don't know why. Let me see it. Engagement in this.
Like I said, as long as they, right, I can say it's open it up. Exactly, as long as it's open an hour. I could just let them be out. There you go. All right.
No, might not be yeah, I'm not there about that. I'm just saying, we don't want to make
They don't want to do that.
I mean, they come in at 6 o'clock, and if you go
Okay, we're going to go forward with the meeting now. Hey, Harriet.
you know, everybody's having a good time, good business.
After extensive discussion, and you know it was extensive, with some of the neighbors, I'm prepared to make a motion that the turnaround be, the gate be as close to the Ewing driveway as the engineer considers feasible, considering traffic safety and the physical layout of the property. And that the turnaround be right before it, or right adjacent to it.
I'm sorry, what was the last part?
And that the turnaround be adjacent, or as close to the gate as possible.
So, can you say that again, David?
Oh. That I move that the gate across South Chester Springs Road is close to the Ewing driveway as the engineer determines is feasible considering traffic safety and the physical layout of the situation, and that the turnaround be adjacent to the gate.
Second.
Go ahead.
No, I think he covered it. I was just was going through my head what was truly had to be covered in that motion.
Okay, we're ready to...
No, there is, well, what we're doing this is we're engaging an engineer to do a new drawing showing it there.
Right, the engineering is part of the engineering process.
Look,
Carol?
Toll
Brothers does it.
Toll Brothers will do
Carol reviews it then.
the initial drawing, Carol will review it.
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. Any comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 16 of 2015, policy for removing shrubbery or trees growing in the right-of-way. John and David, you reviewed this, you ready to vote on it?
Yes, yes.
Go forward or backwards or sideways? Or?
I am ready to vote. I do have two little minor changes.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth paragraph down, now therefore be it resolved, consistent with its prior practice. I don't think we would need that if this was consistent with our prior practice, so I would
Okay, just strike consistent with its prior practice.
Right. And continuing on that same sentence, the township will, to the extent possible and practical, provide notice either written or verbal. I would rather just see, just strike the word either or verbal, make it written. Unless that's too onerous on the township. To provide.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it is, but I welcome some input from the township manager who's not here, so I would accept that change.
Okay, is that it? John, something
Yes.
else? David, do you have anything? Okay, David, do you want to read the, now read therefore be it resolved for?
Now therefore be it resolved, consistent, oh, sorry, we're taking out that. Now therefore be it resolved, the township will, to the extent possible and practicable, provide notice, written notice, to abutting property owners 48 hours prior to the proposed removal of shrubbery and trees, leaving a trunk, or having a trunk diameter in excess of 6 inches, except for situations in which any shrubbery or trees constitute a hazardous or dangerous condition to the use or maintenance of the road or street as determined by the Board of Supervisors, its employees or agents. The shrubbery and trees subject to removal shall be conspicuously marked with identifying paint and/or ribbon 48 hours prior to the removal. Be it further resolved, any removal of trees with a trunk diameter in excess of 6 inches that was not preceded by the issuance of prior notification as provided herein is hereby approved and ratified and shall not be subject of any prosecution or enforcement proceeding contemplated by the second-class Township Code. This determination is based upon the provisions of the second-class Township Code indicating that the costs related to and the receipt of funds resulting from any such prosecution or enforcement would be payable to and paid into the Township General Fund. The Township, in its own sole discretion, may consider any instance in which said notice was or is not provided and take any action or inaction as the Board of Supervisors sees fit and deems appropriate as may be statutorily prescribed. Enacted into resolutions this blank day, blank 2015.
Okay. We need to make a motion to accept this resolution, to verify this.
Yes.
Okay.
I move it be accepted. And adopted.
Any comments? Suzanne?
I read the resolution online today, and it wasn't available for me tonight to read. There was a typo in it. I just want to bring your attention to it. It was an odd, like 2-letter typo or 3-letter typo. It was like 2 by or something. So when you read through it, just make sure it's correct.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes.
Oh, Kip.
That last sentence, would you please explain that last sentence?
You mean the township in its sole discretion may consider any instance in which said notice was or is not provided, take any action or inaction as the Board of Supervisors sees fit and deems appropriate, as may be statutorily prescribed? That one?
That one.
Okay. Steve, you want to tell us what that says? Since you wrote it.
That gives the board the discretion to act if notice was not given or not act.
So why bother making the first part at all if you're going to say at the last part that they can do whatever they want anyway?
Well, the way the second-class township code reads, it says, by the way, I think the typo's in the code. It says, by person who violates this statute, instead of any person that violates a statute, shall be fined and the funds go into the township fund. So what we're saying is if we violated the statute, we're not going to fine ourselves, or we reserve the right to not fine the township and put the money into the general fund.
But you can also actually cut down the tree without giving notice if you decide that you just want to cut down the tree.
Yes, to be direct, yes.
So I don't understand.
Well, because the second-class township code requires that you have a resolution dealing with the issue, so now we have it. We're just not going to punish ourselves by paying ourselves, which seems kind of, from my perspective, asinine, but that's just a lawyer's perspective.
Okay, so does that clear that up, Kip? Because it didn't for me, but...
No?
Okay, Brian, you had your hand up.
Yeah, with the changes in it, some of my stuff went away, which is really good. I think it still is in there, is that to the extent possible and practical, provide notice. I would expect that this is a planned project because when something's an imminent hazard, you've got to do something right away, and the code says that. But how do you get into a planned project where it wouldn't be possible or practical?
I don't think it means that. I think it means, let's say a snowstorm hit and there's a tree that, for some unforeseen reason and it's not practical or
That's an emergency.
Then it goes under emergency, and the out is in the second-class code, that you can do something with it right away.
There you go.
Well, I thought about that when it was being read, and we took out the written or verbal notice, written or verbal. And to the extent possible and practical, it said provide notice, either written or verbal. So it had more meaning for that deletion, in my view. But I didn't object to it staying in because there are situations where you may want to provide written notice to a property owner, and they may be away, they may have their mail on forward, or may get rejected. So I kind of just sat back and said I'd keep it in for those circumstances. And by the way, at least this version says by person, so I guess that means any, could mean by person who violates the provisions of this section commits a summary offense. All fines shall be paid into the general township fund. Now, my view of that is it should say any person, and my view of that, it would be left with the discretion of the township if a contractor was under contract to do the work and notify, and failed to do it and took the tree down, then that person you might want to fine and pay the money into the township general fund, and likely probably reimburse the property owner, who would have the right. But I'm speculating on what that actually means. Because it's
In
not
other
clear.
words, the lawyer isn't any more sure than the civilian is.
Somebody put this together, it wasn't me. I would have drafted it differently.
At the end of the paragraph, it says it shall be conspicuously marked with identifying paint and/or ribbon 48 hours prior to the removal, which that would kind of be a really blatant notification in some ways. But it really doesn't say conspicuously. You could actually, I could hear the justification made, that I went out there with the painters,
With a what?
with an artist's brush, and painted it with a brown X.
Okay, Brian, you got a serious question?
Nope, I'm asking a serious question.
Yeah, okay.
Do we have something in there about?
How about contrasting color? How about bright pink or bright blue?
Conspicuous.
Well, come on, what do you want?
Conspicuous is the word, Brian.
I think conspicuously covers it myself.
Maria?
In that sentence that Kip asked you to read, does that then require, if a tree is coming down and you're not going to give notice, that the supervisors have to make that decision? So it would be a joint decision by the board to not give notice?
No,
That's
that's
the way I
not what
read
that sentence, that sentence says, in the event notice was or is not provided. Okay, said notice was or is not provided. Then they have a decision to make as to how they want to handle that. The resolution says we're going to provide notice for 6 inches, 6-inch diameter or greater.
Who is that person that provides notice? I can't tell it from this. I think that goes back to what Maria was saying.
No, that has to be.
Does somebody in the road crew decide we need to take down that tree?
It says the township will provide notice. Now, who ends up with that responsibility here is going to be a function of whatever this board decides, this board or subsequent board decides to delegate that responsibility. It could be the road crew, it could be the manager.
So we need some type of delegation notice somehow?
No.
It's going to be staff.
A wonderful staff.
Brian, what's the?
I think it would be make John the tree guy.
The tree guy.
What do you think of that, Dave? Do it that quick. We got 2 ayes, you're outvoted. You're
Yeah, but I can't write.
Tree commission.
Yeah, I don't think we-
Steve, at the end of that thing, it says that it's statutorily prescribed.
As maybe statutory.
Yes.
Right.
What statute, is it referring to some statute somewhere?
It's referring to this statute, the second-class township code, or some other one down the road that may come into play, whether it's a township ordinance or...
Okay. And the last thing I've got here is, this thing basically came out of Article 23, Section 2300 of the second-class township code. And in that Section 2325, there's a paragraph B that says, all logs, cordwood, branchwood, and other forms of wood derived from the destruction or removal of any trees growing along the highways shall be surrendered to and remain the property of the abutting owner. Is there some reason why we're not addressing that in this resolution?
Yes,
Can you tell me, please?
because that's law, and what we're addressing in this resolution is the last sentence of 2325A that says, the township supervisor shall determine by resolution the form of notice to property owners. That's what we're actually addressing.
So in other words, a tree can come down and the tree can be done with whatever is wanted to be done with.
No.
No,
He said
No.
it.
state law provides for that. Listen,
The only action required of this board is the last sentence of 2325. Everything else is state law, and it governs the removal, the saving of trees and shrubbery and the removal.
So then if state law says that they're supposed to remain and it doesn't, then certain actions can be taken?
Yes.
Well, why don't we make this say that the trees have to remain on the adjoining property? That'd be a lot cheaper for the township, because we just, cut the tree in lengths and leave it there.
Well,
No, I'm serious, don't laugh. Don't laugh, I mean it.
Sorry,
We can do that.
if people don't want this thing lying in their front yard, they stay with it.
I try not to build inflexibility into these resolutions. I like things to operate comfortably the way they have or will in the future. But to write into a resolution something that half the people are going to want, half aren't going to want, doesn't give us any flexibility. And Ken, you would know this better than I do. I mean, over the last 20 years, you've probably got a mixed bag of people that either want the stuff or don't want it, and the township takes it away when they don't want it and leaves it when they want it.
Right.
And so
Right.
that's
Some
about
people
serving the
want it, some
residents.
people don't.
And it's not just the logs, it's the branches and everything else, the debris
Right,
that goes.
right, I said if we could just cut it and leave it, it would save us a lot of money. That's maybe not the best service to the residents either, though.
So I think we should just leave it the way it is.
Okay. So motions are made and seconded, there's no more comment, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, zoning ordinance changes, what's going on with this? Is this for our consideration, or is this for action this evening?
This is just for your consideration.
Okay. Kip, are those sustainability recommendations for this proposed ordinance? It says that in the agenda, I don't know if there is any or not.
Where does it?
I mean, you're not the chairman, I don't want to put you in a bad spot, but
But I think I'm the only one here from the board tonight. So, I guess where it stands right now is we're waiting for you all to pass it and move it on to, or you can't, can you pass it before it's advertised? You can't.
no.
So that we're asking you, right, to send it on, is that correct?
Yes, you've been doing that, and then what this is what you have before you is a revised markup of the ordinance that contains the sustainability changes. It contains the B&B changes with input from the Planning Commission. You have a memo there from Mike Crotty of my office, or our office, providing you with some additional comments on those recommended changes, so you need to take those into consideration. And I think at that point, once they digest that, we might be able to package this up and advertise it.
So did you make any additional changes to the sustainability?
No.
So that's all ready to go. Do you have to make a motion now to move it on?
Yes, it would be.
Yes, they would have to advertise the proposed change, but they want to do it collectively with these other items because there's a cost
You have to
associated.
make a motion that you will advertise it.
Correct.
So
Okay,
that
well, I'm
will
not
be
nearly far enough
tonight.
along in my review of this to consider
No.
it advertised, right?
No, I didn't know, this is
Or
really
even to
just,
forward it to other committees, and we don't even have a working draft yet, isn't that right?
well, you have a working draft now, and then you have Mike's recommended changes to that working draft.
Okay, so the board needs to review this. We need to review it. Oh, I got it, okay, sorry about
But I
that.
think it would also be helpful to get some resident input, that anybody that's concerned with it, bed and breakfast or B&B, because it does get a little confusing, and.
Right, I would get through what's on top and.
I read all that, and it makes sense to me.
And then as you folks decide yes or no, incorporate these, then we can do that, then we can circulate. And I think that'll be more sane progress.
Okay, does everybody understand what's going on with this?
You're gonna read it.
Yeah, we're going to come up with something to forward to Planning Commission and EAC and Sustainability Committee for their input. Okay?
So you're returning it to us?
Yeah, we're going to take a look at this, we're going to work on this and create a draft ordinance that will get you guys to review to add your input to it. Then we'll consider that, and then when we're ready to go with that, we'll advertise it. So it's gonna be a month or 2 months until we get that far, to advertise it, if it happens that soon.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean, the
Kip,
reason I'm
what-
asking that was, I understand you want to put this together as a package. So but the sustainability one, I thought was already accepted in its entity. So that you were just basically working on the Airbnb one, as far as moving it forward.
Well, we can break it up and do a separate sustainability committee recommendation ordinance change.
The only, well,
Then everything costs more than that.
exactly.
Because I don't know why there's a need to send it back to us unless you're making changes to it.
There were 2 minor changes, by the way, and they are minor. One was capitalizing township, and the other one was you had honoring and advancing, and that honor in advance.
Okay.
And that honor in advance was stricken, because honoring and advancing kind of subsumes that. So they were very minor, but I think the comment that the process that he's suggesting applies more to the other portions than yours. You're just kind of mired down in the process.
So are you saying, so do we have to vote on it again at our next meeting, and then forward it back to the planning commission, and then have it come back to you? What's the procedure we should be following at this point? Just for,
The procedure you should follow is, once they get through it and make their proposed revisions, they get it back to you. You
Okay.
say, yes, we're
Okay.
fine with it. You can forward it to the PC and board at the same time.
Okay.
Okay, so we're ready to the next item on the agenda, is that right? Okay. Okay, under new business, consideration of new members to the Delaware Valley Health Trust. Does anybody know what's going on with this stuff?
That explains it
Yeah.
pretty succinctly.
Okay.
So we need to vote on accepting these as members of the group.
Okay, you want to say that louder? So that the residents
Can
can
I read
read
the whole thing? Names?
Yeah.
Then I'll move it. As part of belonging to the DVHT, Delaware Valley Health Trust, is approving of new groups to join the healthcare system. The following have requested to join for the 2016 year. The board must approve or must vote on accepting them or denying them membership. So we're going to vote on adding Bradley's Run Sanitary Authority, Chadford Township, Carbon Monroe Pike Mental Health and Developmental Services, East Goshen Township, East Whiteland Township, Franklin County Housing Authority, Nazareth Borough Municipal Authority, North Coventry Municipal Authority, Pennsylvania Municipal Authorities Association, and Upper Sulphur Township.
I move that we approve those members.
By way of explanation, this is a group where we're getting our health insurance through. It makes it a lot cheaper.
Okay, I'll second that. Any comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Last item on the agenda is a new stormwater management agreement for 1765 Sugar Mill Road. We have a letter from Carroll Engineering saying it's ready to go. This letter doesn't say that it's ready to go, it says that township needs to determine a couple things.
That is, that they've signed the agreement, they have signed the agreement.
We also,
I agree with Ken, I think this is a conditional
Section 3.
approval.
Yeah, 3A.
And I think Ken's right, that it takes township action, section 3.
Yeah, that's what I was reading, so. So what do we do?
Approve with the condition that they get the,
Meet all the requirements of the letter dated October 6th from Crown Engineering. That works,
Yeah.
Dan?
As could be determined by the township manager.
Or do we just say brings back clean letter of Crown Engineering?
Well, Carol punted on the zoning ordinance. They said basically that because it's in the front yard, the township should determine
If the existing trees and vegetation
are
provide
adequate.
screening.
And so, I would say that's really a Sandy determination then, right? That's a zoning officer determination.
Right.
And so if you want to approve it, you can approve it subject to any determination from Sandy regarding Article 22, Section 2201.82.
what do you say?
So we're moving, I move that the stormwater best management practices and conveyances, operation and maintenance agreement as to, between John Wilkinson, Michelle Wilkinson, and Westminster Township, be approved, subject to the zoning officer's determination that the provisions of Roman 3 of the engineer's letter have been complied with.
Second.
Any comment? All those in favor?
Comments. You're really not just approving the stormwater best management practices and conveyances operation and maintenance agreement. That's part of it. You're approving the plan for the construction of the proposed pool, garage, and hardscaping plan. So really, it's the underlying plan that's getting approved. And the stormwater best management practices and BMP plan, BMP agreement is a requirement based on that plan.
So we need to modify the motion?
Yes.
Add to it, change it?
Just instead of approving the stormwater best management practices, BMPs, and conveyances operation maintenance agreement, we are approving the plan.
Of the proposed pool, garage, and hardscaping.
Yeah, dated April 24, 2015, last revised September 4, 2015.
Got that, Brian?
I accept the amendment.
Do I need to second that? Yeah.
Let's
She's got a
revise,
question.
yes, you already, second. Let's revise for September.
No, we need to second the revised motion.
Okay, so on the 11th, okay.
It's on the
Okay.
left.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any comment? All those in favor? Aye.